Hi guys, welcome back to Style and Direction, a mentor podcast that doesn't have any stuffiness.
That's different this time.
Yeah, well, I'm trying new things. This is
Yeah.
my name is Ethan Wong,
I'm Spencer.
and today we're gonna be talking about one of our favorite, if not only, trade show that we've ever been to.
Yep, it's the only trade show I've been to, period. So,
Yeah, is that true for me? I don't think I've gone to. I used to work for an engineering company. I worked there for 2 weeks. This is way back when I was in college or working on my master's, and I didn't physically go to the trade show, but
but mentally, spiritually,
emotionally, no. A couple of the team that worked there, they went to I guess, engineering, manufacturing, robotics trade show, and so during those 2 weeks, like they went there, and then I was organizing the content, so I was able to live vicariously through these short-term coworkers, I guess, and look at these cool, look at this pneumatic arm that you can use to attach things. I don't know what any of those things are.
My stepmom works for a company that manufactures faucets, and she tells me that there's a big trade show in Italy, so that's kind of like the pity of the faucet industry.
And guys wear faucets and get street styled by the sartorialist in Tommyton, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we've kept you waiting long enough. Here's the one we're talking about today.
It's called Inspiration LA. It was started. Do you know the history of this place?
No, I was actually trying to find out about that. I didn't find much.
Okay, so here's what I know, and listeners, feel free to correct us, send us an email, or something. But from what I know, there's this guy Rin Tanaka, who was a big collector of vintage. I think he, if you look at the Lightning archives, I have two books, Military Jacket and Leather Jacket. He, his name features in a couple of those things, and basically he wanted a space to show it off. So he created I don't know when it started, and of course, Spencer, you can Google this as I'm talking. That way you can look.
Well,
this up.
I mean, yeah, I found essentially what you're talking about. That's about it.
Okay, so basically, from what I know, is that he started kind of a show that the public and other enthusiasts could come see his collection, because he's been collecting for a long time. He's a big fan of old stuff. By that I mean 70s, 80s, 60s, not the suits that Spencer and I got started with, but more of the casual stuff, leather, denim, workwear, all that kind of stuff. And eventually it became kind of like a gathering place for other collectors, for other enthusiasts, for designers, who do all this kind of stuff, like Himmel Bros, Levi's Vintage Clothing, what's some other denim stuff that I can't think of right now?
Like Mr. Freedom.
Mr. Freedom, there you go. Yeah, stuff like that. And it's kind of evolved over time. And it takes place in Los Angeles, which makes it really good for us, because I think, as far as I know, it's the only open to the public kind of fashion thing that happens in California.
Yeah,
I
usually,
guess. Yeah.
Usually it corresponds with a vintage fashion expo, but that's also just different.
I think that's just marketing. I think that they,
I mean, it's run by two completely separate entities.
Yeah, and they probably kind of do it at the same time, so that way people can go to both. The Vintage Fashion Expo used to be, from what I've heard from our vintage friends, used to be one of the biggest, vintage gatherings. More so rockabilly, suiting, dapper, whatever stuff that you want to call it. But I actually don't know if it still happens anymore, because they used to do it in both San Francisco and LA. But now I think it's just San Francisco.
Yeah.
Because it's been kind of dwindling down. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, it's really the only fashion trade show event thing that happens here in LA, if you don't count Dapper Day, which is more of just for fun, and if you don't count the random stuff at the Bloke that Spencer and I attend. So yeah, it's a cool thing. I mean, we've seen guys like Kenji from Bryceland's, he came to the last year's one.
Rob Spangle.
Yeah. You get again the guys like Himmel Brothers. I forget Dave Himmel, the Himmel brother himself, who makes bespoke leather jackets.
The founder of Men's File was there this year,
Oh yeah,
and I think he's there like every year.
yeah, and that's like the big thing too. It's that it's like Clutch and Men's File, all like these publications that are mainly Japanese oriented, use this as kind of like their event. Like Pitti Uomo has Plaza Uomo, which is a magazine. So yeah, it's a really cool event that we get to go to.
Yeah,
And
we've been going We've been 3 times, 3 or 4.
I think it's 4. I think we first went in 2015. Cause did you pull up the 3 other ones?
I was briefly looking at them because I remember we went to the Vintage Fashion Expo, and this was like the first time we had heard of Inspiration because it was going on in the same building at the same time.
Yeah, so back then, and for a couple of years, it would be held at the Reef, which is on the more industrial, not so good part of LA, which is like below the 10 freeway, south of the 10 freeway, if you want to be cool. But like the Reef is like a weird art building. I don't know what it is.
There's a big chair.
Yeah, there's a big chair. Well, there used to be a big chair outside, and so like they would have Inspiration on, like the top floors, and it was kind of like kind of industrial because it was like concrete, ground and ceilings, kind of like a. It was very interesting the first time I went.
Yeah.
And then they've had it there every year until this year when they actually changed it to being at the convention center, which is what I remember because of, I mean, I've been to like it gave me. Someone said it felt like being at a Costco because of like the high ceilings and the bright, the bright lights.
It was a much different vibe this time than it was at the Reef, because the Reef is also. It seemed at the Reef everything is more dense.
Yeah.
Everything was a lot more spaced out, and I mean, we're not saying this isn't necessarily a bad thing. We're just saying it was different than past years.
Yeah, exactly. And because there's not a lot like at the like as Spencer said, the Reef is very dense. So even though there's not a lot of people, it felt crowded. But because you're in the giant exhibit hall space of the convention center, it felt like it felt very expansive and kind of empty because everyone had like 5 to 10 feet in between each person.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
but we also got there pretty close to closing on the second day, so that might also have something to do with it.
Yeah, exactly. But let's talk about our experience with it. So yeah, as Spencer said, first we went
the first.
to the
2015
Expo,
was the Vintage Fashion Expo. The first time we went, I think, was 2016.
Okay, that's starting to make sense now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always every February. And yeah, like it's basically like the place for vintage collectors of denim, of workwear, of leather to kind of congregate, and you get a bunch of like, not everyone there is famous, even though there can be people, and by famous I don't mean celebrities. We mean people who.
Although celebrities do go there.
Yep. Yeah, I got to see one of my favorite comedians. Damn it, what's his name?
Drew Tarver.
Drew Tarver. I was like, Derek.
You're gonna be so embarrassed when he listens to this episode.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, what? These guys aren't doing it right. They're not saying my name.
Man, we're not gonna get any tickets to the love train.
Nope. Where the captain is a kiss.
Yep.
Comedy Bang Bang. Please go to styleddirectionjokesexplained.com. But yeah, so like, I think the reason why it has such appeal is because it's kind of what I consider to be kind of California dressed up, like.
Oh yeah.
Because
it's very Los Angeles.
Yeah, like, obviously you don't get a lot of tailoring here, as I've mentioned so many times. Every time that I have an event, I always say we don't get to do this a lot because we don't.
Yep.
But most guys who are in Los Angeles, if they want to dress up or have like a cool style that isn't streetwear, or they tend to go for the Americana workwear look. It's very easy.
Yeah.
It's denim, work boots, a white t-shirt or a sports shirt, and a leather jacket, denim jacket, what have you. And you could attribute it to like the whole like California gold rush, that whole kind of thing.
Exactly. It
That
has
whole aesthetic.
it has a lot of heritage.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's very easy for regular guys to kind of get into this too, because I brought my friends MJ, don't get on mic, um, Scott and Andrew, who don't necessarily. I mean, I guess MJ kind of counts, but like Scott and Andrew aren't super into like menswear or fashion, but
Yeah.
they're into this thing. It's all like military jackets, olive jackets, chore coats, like it's.
And it's just because those things are cool.
Yeah, no, exactly, and it's
Like I think we've talked about like the mysterious like cool factor on this podcast before.
Yeah,
and almost
Genesis
everything
Law.
at
Yeah.
almost everything in inspiration gets that thumbs up.
Yeah, I mean, because it's like it has no like previous air like a suit. Like there's no like, oh, that guy's going to work or that guy's.
There's no
being dressed up.
pretension to it.
Yeah.
It's all yeah.
I mean, there might be a little bit of like, oh, do you actually work in that? But
Do you even
but
work,
the thing
bro?
is, yeah, but they're not wearing. It's not like, I mean, there is Carhartt kind of stuff, but these. I think there is kind of this understanding that when you're wearing it, you may not work in that thing, but it's still, it doesn't have like you don't have to be a certain person to like it. Like it's just a cool
Exactly.
denim jacket,
Yeah.
And
It's
then-
like most people there would probably say it's like I'm here because I like well-made clothing.
Yeah, no,
And-
exactly.
Yeah.
And the amount of details on these clothes that you find there, like whether it's like the pleated front of a Type 1 jacket or like a double rider, like those things are kind of like more fashion details now than before.
Yeah.
And so it's like, but it's not like a lapel or like the construction of a tie knot, or I'm sorry, a construction of just a tie, like the fold or whatever. It's just like a cool detail that works on this piece of clothing that you could literally wear all year in California, basically.
Yeah.
And I mean that's the biggest appeal of it, and it draws in regular guys off the street. Drives in. Who else have I seen? Like I guess they're like buyers for costuming. There's buyers or stylists. I mean for celebrities. You get celebrities themselves. I heard Jason Momoa was there on Friday.
Yeah, he was.
I wouldn't be surprised if like John C. Reilly, who is a big Mr. Freedom fan,
Yep.
would have shown up. And then of course you get like the regular menswear celebrities like Dave Himmel, like I said before. You get Brian the boot maker, I think is his Instagram. He makes Roll Club boots. I didn't get a chance to talk to him this time. Obviously my mental state was not in the right place, so we had a car accident. But like these guys who have made some of the cool stuff that I've seen on Instagram, were just there kind of walking around. These are regular guys who are, just doing their thing, checking out cool clothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, if I can't express how cool it is and how worth it is for people to go and stop by.
Yeah, and every year there's always rumors like, oh, this is going to be the last one, and every time I'm like, God, I hope not, because again, this is super cool. Like it's not just like, oh yeah, we get to see vintage like a bunch of other events we go to. This is all some of like the rarest stuff that's out there, stuff you can't really find anywhere else.
Yeah. So let's go. So we've talked a little bit about we'll talk
What
about
it
the
is.
designer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about designers in a second, but one of the biggest draws, like Spencer said, is that it has some of the rarest vintage, because this is a place where some of the biggest collectors and pickers, as we call them, get to display their stuff. They come in from all over, they're not just from LA.
Yeah, we get. I mean, there's a guy. Damn, I can't remember. It's Orange something, but he's
Orange
from
Crush experts, Orange Coast.
Yeah, he's from the
exports?
Pacific Northwest, right?
I don't know. You're
Okay, I
the one
think
who
so.
bought something from him.
Whatever. We'll look it up. It'll be in the show notes.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then there's a lot of guys from Japan over there.
Definitely, there's like American Rag who are also. I mean, it's like basically if you guys have been to the Rose Bowl, it's kind of like that, except the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
And they sell like you can find everything from like Big E denim, like vintage Levi's, like not reproduction, like the legit thing, to
Yeah.
like fucking. What's
They had like
crazy?
bootleg Gucci stuff there too, so it's
Yeah,
like,
that too, but I'm talking more about like a 1700s tunic.
Oh yeah.
Or like souvenir jackets, like vintage souvenir
Uh-huh.
jackets from like the 40s and 50s, right when they were becoming a thing. you know, it's somewhat crazy. I mean, obviously, Spencer and I can't afford any of this stuff. Like,
Yeah,
I think,
because here's the other thing. Prices there are insane.
yeah, I mean, I think it's worth it a little bit. I'm sure they might jack it up, for the prestige of being there, because some of these people aren't able to, you can't go to Orange Crush if you're not in the PNW,
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's very, very expensive,
Yeah.
and but the thing is, these pieces are incredibly rare. Like, I think I saw a couple of years ago a, I don't know, like a cotton sweater that had a Y on it. Like, not like, the typical, not the typical wool ribbed one that you see on like collegiate stuff. Like, it was like a cotton sweater with white ass ribbing and had a Y.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's cool. How much is that? And I'm like, I was like, oh, that's like $600 because it's from Yale from like the 50s. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, it's stuff like that, which make it. I mean, if you're not gonna buy anything, at least look at the shit.
Exactly. I mean, that's why it's called inspiration.
Is that why it's called inspiration?
Probably not.
I
I'm
don't
just
know.
saying it.
But yeah, I mean, and in addition to that, you get people who design and make reproduction clothing or new versions of that kind of stuff. I think I just saw, like, oh, excuse me, I'm like burping all over the place today.
Oh boy, what did you have for dinner?
I had, oh god, people are gonna know how bad I eat now.
Perfect.
I had ice cream.
Nice for dinner.
Yeah. Hey, if you eat it at nighttime, that's dinner time. I had naan, Indian
Okay.
bread, for people who don't know what that is. I mean, I'm sure everyone knows what that is. And
Yeah, just in
hummus
case.
and rice and chicken.
Hey, that sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I added some more vegetables into the mix, but whatever.
Yeah. Who cares?
Yeah. So if I'm burping, squeeze me. But
Excuse me.
yeah, but there's a place like a Blue Blanket, which makes like reproduction denim, high waisted, I actually
Great details like buckle backs. They have like kind of 70s style with like blue jeans with the orange stitching, stuff like that.
yeah, stuff that you can't find. I mean, like, I'm not gonna discount places like J Crew, which if you're not into the details, like they'll be just fine for you.
Yeah.
But there are like, this is like when you want
Next
the cool
level.
stuff. Yeah, and then if
Yeah.
you don't want to pay money on a vintage piece that may or may not be in wearable condition,
Mm-hmm.
and
Because that's the one thing that, I mean, yeah, reproduction has definitely a leg up on vintage in that, because we have both bought vintage stuff that has like started falling apart after a couple wears.
yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
that's like the big trade-off between, like you said, between reproduction and vintage. But yeah, but this place has a bunch of them. You've got, I think Blue Maid was there like last year, I think, and that's not
Yeah.
necessarily a reproduction place, but that's like, they kind of got that whole heritage vintage kind of feel, like kind of loose cut, like linen shirts and linen trousers. You got Clutch Golf, which is kind of a
Yep.
reinterpretation of American sportswear, like wide legged, pleated linen trousers.
All with like really interesting vintage fabrics.
Yeah, like I think one of his draws a couple of years ago, or that he still wears today, is like a canvas suit made of army mail bags. So it's like each piece of the suit is like a different shade of olive green, because obviously he's using like 8 to 10 different bags for this suit.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
There was Real McCoy's is usually there. They make some of the best like vintage military reproduction stuff out there.
Right, and then like, who else? I mean, I said Himmel Brothers a couple times. There was another leather jacket company that was also there. That
a lot of guys who, a lot of leather workers are always there.
Yeah, I mean, leather and denim is kind of like the biggest thing, because that's the most wearable.
Yeah.
Like, you don't. I mean, like, I think Cody was partnered there. Oh, Damien Monsivice of Monsivice Co., who makes reproduction vintage caps, is there. So it's got a little bit of everything.
Yeah. You could put together a whole outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and then of course sometimes there's like live music that's there. You get a couple of you get the Clutch men's file area where they're selling all of their books.
And if you're cool enough, they'll ask you to be in their magazine like we were last year.
Yeah, and our outfits were better this year
but we
they
got
were,
there
yeah,
later.
yeah.
So,
So
whoops.
it's okay. Our outfits are on the blog streetexpress.wordpress.com, and that's what really matters.
Uh-huh. Who needs clutch?
Yeah, who needs them? We do.
Yep, we
Um,
do.
but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a fun time, and then usually there are pre-parties. I think
Mm-hmm.
there's one that I went to at Raggedy Threads, which was really fun. Raggedy Threads is a vintage store in Little Tokyo.
Which it's very much in line with the whole vibe of inspiration.
Yeah, like faded, ripped jeans.
Mm-hmm. A lot
Uh,
of workwear, a lot of denim, a lot of military surplus.
yeah, basically that's all it is.
Yeah.
And basically all that what people sell there.
Yeah.
Um,
Which again, that's the kind of vintage that's really easy to wear in LA.
yeah. And if you're looking for leather jackets, I mean, that's literally like the place to go because,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been to the Rose Bowl a couple times. I mean, you might find some stuff if you're digging or if a guy didn't know what he had. But if you want like 30s to 50s, 60s, 70s leather jackets, that's the place to go. Of
Oh
course,
yeah.
with the price that you'd
Mm-hmm.
expect from this kind of thing.
But
But
I mean, you got some pretty good deals.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But before we get into that, I want to continue talking about like the parties and stuff like that. There was one on Friday on Stronghold. I've never been there. I think it's a new, or I'm not sure if it's new, but uh, like another heritage store similar to General Quarters in La Brea.
Mm-hmm.
And then after Inspiration's last day on Saturday, there is the after party at Double RL, which is I guess the biggest one. They have
Yeah.
like free food. Everyone's over there. Oh yeah, I don't know the celebrity. Aunt Alessandra Scarzi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's another big military
Mm-hmm.
surplus workwear kind of guy who
Yeah.
also goes to tell you've probably seen him a lot in Sartorialist and Street
Yep.
Style of Pitti Uomo. And that's usually fun. We usually end our time there.
Yeah, that's more like just to kind of hang out because we both love Double RL, but their prices are it's more than inspiration.
Yeah, 'cause it's fucking Ralph Lauren, baby.
Yeah. So that's where everyone goes to kind of hang out, maybe do some last minute networking, but mostly just, get some cool pics.
And we don't really
look
know
at-
too many people either. I mean, we know every year we know more and more people.
Mhm.
So that's kind of nice. I think the first time we went there, we didn't know anybody, and we just kind of like.
Nope. We kind of hung out with each other. We were our own friends.
Yeah. When did we do that?
That
was that
was
2017, I think? Because 2018 we knew the Gooch brothers.
Yeah, so it must have been 2016 or 2017. Well, no, it had to be 2017 because I didn't go. We went to Inspiration in the daytime in 2016.
Yeah, we didn't even know about the other stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's again, I keep saying it's really cool, and that's because it is.
Mm-hmm.
There's really nothing quite like it here in LA unless we kind of make something ourselves. Which
Yeah, I mean,
I
I'm
would
sure.
love
I
to.
think there are other like trade shows, but they're not. Yeah, as you said before, they're not open to the public, and they're not nearly as exciting as something like Inspiration.
Yeah, and I'm not about to stand outside of New York Fashion Week or LA Fashion Week for no reason.
Yeah.
But let's talk about kind of the evolution of our style.
Uh-huh.
Going into this thing because again, so we could talk about Ethan's casual style all day, and we're not going to talk about that because it's gone through so many phases. I love so many different types of things.
Yeah.
Um,
We're gonna save that for a future episode.
yeah, but yeah. So I mean, when we first started going to this, I mean, it was kind of a challenge because
We were like, yeah, what do we wear to this week? Because it's like I did my vintage like workwear thing casually, but I didn't really have any like super interesting pieces, and yeah, I didn't really know, like I wanted to make it special, so I wanted to do something different than I wore every day.
what was the thing you wore the first time?
The first time was a regrettable outfit. It was it was a 1930s spear point shirt that I got because it's a really cool pattern, and I still have it. It is still very cool. I wear it occasionally. However, the neck is very small. I got it despite that, and I tried wearing it with a tie and my Ralph Lauren like 1930s style linen trousers where the waist is a little bit too low to be worn with vintage ties, and a cardigan. It did not look great.
Well, I think that you could reinterpret that today.
No, yeah, you could absolutely reinterpret those pieces into a really cool outfit, but the way I wore it just did not work.
What did I wear from that year?
You were wearing your like 70s like double-breasted leather jacket with the buttons and a sweater.
Oh
And
yeah.
some
So I definitely did an aviator outfit because I wore a 70s does 30s ish double-breasted leather jacket with a 1930s spear point shirt with a tie, and then over that and under the leather jacket, I
Yep.
wore a brown Fair Isle J. Crew lamb's wool sweater, and then with 30s trousers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think either spectators or plain shoes. I'm not sure.
I'm
Exactly.
looking at you were wearing your perforated. It looks like those are your perforated
Okay,
spectators.
there we go. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I still have the sweater. I sold off the trousers because they were part of a belt back suit I don't wear,
Yeah.
and the
The
jacket.
leather jacket you sold a while ago.
Yeah, I think it's. I don't think I sold. I think I just gave it to Andrew.
Yeah. Man, I haven't seen him wear it. That's a cool thing. You should wear it.
Yeah, you're telling me.
Come on, Andrew.
Yeah, don't get on mic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, but Spencer, your style has been kind of workwear the whole, like basically your whole time.
Yeah,
right?
I mean that's my casual style because it's like again it's easy to wear, relatively inexpensive because there's a lot of it, and yeah, it just looks cool. Although I think it's just like improved because now, and again we'll get into this more in a future episode when we talk about just our casual style in general. Now I don't like doing straight workwear outfits because I feel like that's like too cosplay. I like adding something else to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that because I think that the thing that I never really liked is that even though I don't, obviously I'm not a working person, I don't work on cars or motorcycles, but I still don't identify a lot with the lifestyle that they have. And I'm sure that everyone, if you ask them, they'll all tell you like, oh yeah, you don't have to be the same thing, but it is kind of like
Yeah.
when like I don't listen to old music or rock music in general. I mean, I do listen to rock music, but it's really hipster.
Yep.
You guys haven't heard of it. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I don't listen to like 50s jazz or like blues. I don't listen to Metallica or whatever some other guys wear like the rock and roll kind of stuff, like the Japanese 70s kind of workwear look.
Yeah.
I don't do any of that stuff. I definitely don't. I don't know what else have tattoos or. I'm trying to think.
Drink coffee.
Or drink. I don't even drink coffee. Yeah, but I mean, I also could apply that to like menswear stuff. Like, I see the Drake's guys read like Hunter S. Thompson books or whatever, or just random literature, and that's cool. I mean, I find it fascinating. It's not me.
Yeah.
And so I always wanted to distance myself from, adhering to a certain look, or following all the rules, even if they're unstated rules. I just didn't want to kind of follow it because I felt like it wasn't me. So I never was the guy who wanted to wear, I don't know, like fucking engineer boots with wide leg denim with a white t-shirt, a type 1, and like a silver belly fedora. Like, I like all those things individually, but I think putting them all together like that would make me look, like Spencer said, too cosplay.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't feel like me. And so, again, like, I mean, it even took me a while for me to just buy, selvage denim and wear them with boots. Like, for a while, like, I only wore my selvage denim with, like, tailoring. Or, like, with, like, loafers, I guess, or derbies, whatever you want to call them. Just because I wasn't into the whole workwear look because I wasn't into the lifestyle that went with it.
Exactly.
And then,
I think at least in my case, what's really kind of helped me grow in my personal style and get, like kind of change it up to be more interesting is just the people that we meet at events like these. Like I met the Gooch brothers for the first time
there we go.
at Inspiration. Like Doug we met at the Rose Bowl flea market, and he's big into that kind of look. So it's like meeting people like that, like finding out their influences.
Yeah, and
like,
those guys, I mean, they have similar stuff, but they don't really have the hardcore workwear vibe to them,
Exactly.
and that just might be because we haven't met too many hardcore workwear kind of guys, and that's my
Mm-hmm.
fault for generalizing. Um, but like Spencer says, I think that we get a lot of inspiration from our friends and who approach
Yeah.
it in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like so. What was our outfits for 2017?
So I was doing a pretty. This is basically what I wore a lot, and it's like still kind of what I wear, but not as much. This was a pretty straight 1950s casual look. So I had a Western jacket, like a Western gab jacket with some pretty interesting details, like the pleated pockets, bi swing, all of that.
Oh, that's because
Um,
I sold that jacket to you.
Correct. Yep. And I'm wearing that with one of my few patterned sport shirts, which I still love, and I can't wait for summer to break it out again. But it's like kind of like a red and very light blue, like large scale plaid. I'm wearing that with my LVC 1933s and my boots. So again, very simple, just like pretty straightforward 50s casual look.
Oh, I remember what I'm wearing now. So I got the leather jacket. It's a double rider.
Yep.
I got that probably a couple months before at Dapper Day of all places
Mm-hmm.
from Sneaky Tiki, who is, I guess he wasn't there this time. I don't know what he's up to, but he's in Long Beach. He's another vintage seller. He also does reproduction. But yeah, it's a double rider that's I've heard according to experts it looks the labels or the construction makes it look 50s, but it's modeled after the 30s. It's got like asymmetrical zip, side
Mm-hmm.
pockets and everything, and it's really cool. Like, I think it's the label's like Big Chief, and it's like one of those kind of racist American appropriating Native American culture
Yeah.
kind of labels. But it's really cool. My first ever like real leather jacket.
Mm-hmm.
I wore that with my Western inspired spear point. That's
Yep.
kind of well, not really Western inspired, but like double
Just kind of like
RL.
workwear. Yeah,
Yeah, because it's got
exactly.
like this kind of like a subtle diamond weave on it, diamond
Uh-huh.
print, and like a indigo blue. So it's kind of a cool shirt with like dual chest pockets with flaps.
Yeah, you did an air tie.
That's weird.
Yeah, I know. you're not a fan of that.
No, I don't
Yeah.
know why. I,
Uh-huh.
I guess I just didn't like how the shirt looked without a tie or
Yeah.
without
Maybe
this
underneath the
open.
jacket. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wore it with my Levi's 501 CTs, which are my first pair of selvage denim.
Yep.
They're kind of a slim cut, and they don't fit me anymore because they're too big now. But I still wear them with like with a tight belt. And then I wore
Mm-hmm.
them with my no, I didn't wear boots that time.
You wore derbies.
I wore my
Long wings.
my
Yeah.
shell cordovan long wings, which I think I cracked because I mean I think they're already cracked at the time, just because they were old and I got them at a thrift store and they just when I
Uh-huh.
put my feet in them they just they died. Um, but yeah, wow, I remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blake was hanging out with us that time.
Yeah, he had a pretty good look. He has your old
Oh, then I
like
guess that double
leather
rider wasn't my
jacket.
leather jacket because that was my first leather
No,
jacket.
you were wearing your double rider
I
that
mean,
time.
I called it my first leather jacket, but
Okay,
that's
yeah,
not true.
he's wearing your old like flight jacket with the D pockets and the fur collar. He has that with like a really cool check 1930s spear point shirt and then some like 1940s work pants. Like it looks like it's a khaki like HBT with orange stitching.
Yeah, Blake's been a very interesting change because he got into vintage through Benny wearing suits, and now he's kind of got this European workwear vibe,
Yeah,
which is
some dope
all the
stuff.
rage for inspiration. And I'm
Yeah.
surprised. I'm not. Oh, I mean, I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't get super famous as an icon or get featured in the Clutch magazine.
Mhm.
And I think so that was 2017. So 2018 I think is where it gets cooler.
We're starting to get there. Let me get to that article.
I
Here we
remember
go.
what I'm wearing. I'm wearing
Yeah.
my gray Wellama fedora. So this is a good example of Ethan trying to mix his passions together because it's like I want it to be sartorial, but I also wanted to be kind of work weary.
Mhm.
I don't think this worked that well. I mean, it's nice. I got featured in Clutch probably as a favor from
I mean,
Garrett.
yeah, it's a good look.
Yeah. It's whatevs. So I'm wearing my gray Wilma fedora. This one wasn't bespoke. It was one of his off the rack models that I got as a gift, for
Mm-hmm.
being his photographer. I'm wearing it with a. I didn't tell them this, but it's a J. Crew chambray work shirt
Yep.
with a 1940s wool tie that's got like a block rep stripe. Where the 1940s cream sweater vest, which is gone.
Mm.
I have no idea where it is. And then uh, this 1940s, 50s single-breasted leather jacket that I got to finally replace the flight jacket that I
Yeah.
sold to Blake because I had a double rider, but I wanted something single-breasted for, Indiana Jones or whatever. But it's really cool. It's kind of a Western. It's got like a pleated-ish, like, yoke pocket or whatever. It's
Mm-hmm.
got blanket lining, very, very cool. Um, and then I wore it with 1950s chinos that I tapered. I wish I didn't, but they're tapered now. And then with the long wings again.
No, split toes.
Oh, split toes. Oh, they're split toes. Alan has been
Yep.
split toes.
Yep.
They look vintage though because they're kind of got this chilly kind of chunky thing.
Uh-huh.
And then when the Clutch photographer asked me what they were, I said they're vintage.
Nice.
So if anyone's listening to this, I'm a fraud.
Yeah, you've lied to Clutch, and now they're gonna blacklist you.
Yep.
My outfit in that one, I was still pretty. Mine is still pretty, just like vintage workwear, no real twist to it. But yeah, I got I'm wearing a rugby RL shirt that has paint stains on it, some like already worn stuff on it. I have like a 1960s suede jacket, like suede leather jacket. My 1940s chinos, like World War II military chinos, which I'm gonna alter and make cooler because I tapered those too. I'm gonna let them out and then give them a raw hem because they're too short to be cuffed. And then with boots. Oh, and then I'm wearing your open road.
Yeah, Spencer has a big habit of borrowing my clothing.
Yeah, specifically hats because we are the same size.
And I've got some pretty dope hats actually.
And
That open
I don't
road
spend much
hat.
money on hats.
Yeah, that open road. I'm not sure if it's open road or Stradliner. I don't know what the hell it is. It's a
I
silver
call
belly
every
collar.
Stetson Western hat an open road.
I think an open road has the more cowboy top, and a Stradliner is more of a fedora shape. Again, if we're wrong, please let us know,
Yep.
or we'll correct ourselves in the show notes.
Yeah.
But it is a cool, yeah, it's a silver belly color. I got it at Paper Moon. I unfortunately had the sweatband removed and replaced by a local vintage shop, which I will not mention, but they did a bad job on it. And unfortunately, it kind of makes the shape of the brim kind of weird. It kind of like curls where the brim meets the crown. And so I gave it to Cody Wilma to get it redone, and I haven't had it yet. I mean, just because Cody, it's basically a one-man operation, and so he's a very busy man. So hopefully I'll have it back because I kind of, after going to Inspiration for a couple of years now and meeting the Gooch brothers who have put their own spin on Americana and workwear,
Yeah.
it's like, oh man, I think I could actually make a couple of looks out of this, especially when I look at Ethan Newton of Bryceland's.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
He wears his silver belly, light colored fedora with suiting, with casual stuff, with shorts or whatever.
And it looks great.
And, yeah, exactly. And I'm, as an Ethan myself, and a lot of my inspiration.
You Ethan's got to stick together.
Yeah, I get a lot of inspiration from him, and so. And I got the hat before I even knew who he was technically.
Yeah.
So it's just I'm glad I held on to it, and I can't wait to break it out again.
It's definitely a Stradliner. But anyway, I think those Western style fedoras are a little bit easier to. I mean, obviously they're going to be more casual than dress fedoras, but in California they're going to be easier to wear than just a regular fedora. There's just some about them that's a little bit cooler.
There's that word again.
Exactly,
Heavy.
but it just works. It just works with casual stuff.
I think you can kind of blame, or not really blame, but the whole like fedora, wide brim fedora craze of like 2010.
Yeah.
where, like all these guys were wearing felt fedoras with tailoring, with,
Mm-hmm.
I think Kanye West probably did it because I think that's the whole thing that went with it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's basically that same vibe except done Americana heritage,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a really cool look.
Yeah. And again, we'll save this for the casual discussion episode, but maybe it's because I'm playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption, but I'm really into Western stuff right now. So,
That I feel like
yeah,
that probably is.
that's absolutely it. Once I beat that game, I'm going to be like, okay, I don't need any of this stuff anymore.
So why don't we talk about what we wore this time? Because I think this
Yeah.
time is probably the best we've ever
We're,
done.
we're hitting our stride.
Hell yeah, we are. So why
Yeah.
don't you start us off?
Yeah, so this time I wore something that I threw on one day before Ethan and I were hanging out. And then I was like, "Damn, this is really good. I'm going to save this for inspiration." So it is my trusty camo jungle jacket over a reproduction Browns Beach vest and blue OCBD. I got my Knickerbocker officer chinos, which are long enough to cuff, with white socks and my long wings. So kind of throwing it back to your like 2016 outfit. And then with a navy watch cap.
And who
Oh, and
owns
then
that?
later, that's yours. later when it got cold, I threw on like a 1930s wool. Ah, shoot, what are those jackets called?
Mackinac.
Mackinac. Sorry, guys, it's late. I'm tired.
Yeah, we're doing this because you guys asked for it,
Yeah.
and because it's cool to kind of follow up and kind of air our thoughts.
Yeah,
about
we
inspiration.
remember it, so you don't have to.
There we go. So mine is something that I think has been kind of encapsulating basically, my Bryson's inspiration a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we'll talk about this more on the casual episode, but it's probably one of the most simpler looks I've ever done. It's basically my double rider brought back again with a plaid brushed rayon. So it's kind of got this like light flannelly feel. Sport shirt that is kind of a brown and green and white check. And then my LVC 1945s, which have been perfectly faded. Not by me because I bought them used from Damien
Yep.
Monsivice. Which I also used with tailoring before then. And
Mm-hmm.
I wore them with my first pair of real boots. I mean, I have like suede Chelseas and I had Fry boots from Nordstrom when I was in college. But I bought these. These are probably one of the best things I've ever bought. They are Shell Cordovan boots made by Alden as a custom order for Carol & Co., which is now a defunct men's haberdashery that used to be in Beverly Hills.
Mm-hmm.
And they're kind of like a commando boot combined with the indie boot. It doesn't have the split toe front. Not commando, the tanker boot, I guess. The tanker boot, I think, has a split toe in the front. Well, mine doesn't. Mine just has the stitching like a indie boot. The silhouette is a lot slimmer. I think it's the Berry Last and not the typical kind of fatter, you know, indie boot last.
Yeah.
And my boots also don't have speed hooks. So they're kind of this cool, they're kind of workwear. I mean, they have like a rubber sole with a
You could
commando
work in
sole.
them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can. I've worn them. I mean, I basically lived in them when I went to Seattle. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
raining, but it's cold. I was exploring the city. I didn't want to wear, in case it did rain, I didn't want to wear sneakers or dress shoes, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And they are, because they're shell cordovan, they break in really well. They don't wrinkle. They just kind of roll at the stress points, and they're super comfortable. Like they're one of the most comfortable shoes that I've ever had. I've
Mm-hmm.
worn my loafers and my long wings when I've been on trips, and they always die. My feet always die, and so. But these, like I said, I brought them and I wore them almost every day in Seattle, and they were really great. And they're finally like a good pair of boots that will work with jeans, so I can kind of do the whole 40s, 50s casual look that Spencer has been doing basically his entire fashion life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Which is better than my regular life.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously. But yeah, no,
Uh-huh.
I mean, like, so the outfit is kind of, I wore a beret with it, so it's kind of has this not really French resistance vibe, because if it was French resistance, it would be more tailoring focused.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it has a Bryceland spin on it because of the beret. You know, the brown and the green and the shirt mix well with the rest of the colors of the outfit. It's definitely more understated, but I think I like that. You know, it's not overtly workweary. You know, if I wore like a fedora or if I had my silver belly Stetson, it wouldn't. It would kind of. I feel like it would lean too far into the whole cosplaying aspect of like of that workwear, 40s casual look.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I have something weird about wearing fedoras with casual, like especially my brown fedora. I have a bespoke brown fedora from Cody Willema that I love. It's like the perfect shape, but if I wear it with casual stuff, I feel too much of like a 40s 50s dad. You know, I like wearing mine with like more rugged tailoring. You know, with like an overcoat. I can still wear it with denim, but I wear it with like a tweed jacket instead of like what I was wearing. I think the beret kind of it has the opposite effect where it makes it kind of dressy, but it makes it more me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I really liked it. It really shows how much inspiration has affected me. And I think that you could say the same thing for Spencer.
Yeah,
you know, I don't
because
think
again, this was. I mean, there are a lot of guys that do straight kind of workwear looks. There's nothing wrong with that, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. And I think Ethan and I were talking about this earlier, and I kind of like half jokingly said that like the perfect inspiration outfit would include an element of Ivy, workwear, and military surplus, because that's like the styles that are represented there. And so I wanted to try something that put everything together in kind of a coherent way, rather than just saying I'm going to go all military surplus or I'm going to go all workwear or all Ivy. So just kind of mix and match.
Yeah, and that's something that you've been doing a lot of.
Yeah, because
lately.
it's cool.
Yeah, and of course we'll get back into that in our casual.
Man, we're hyping this thing up. It's gonna be like the Avengers Endgame of this podcast.
Oh man, in my head I just played the Avengers Infinity War theme, which I won't hum for you guys because I don't think it'll translate well. But yeah, I mean, go ahead and read. I think the article on inspiration has links to all three of the other ones that we've done. You can really see all the different styles that are represented there. And in the show notes, I'm sure that Spencer will kind of include some of our favorite inspiration looks.
Yeah.
From other people, of course, as well.
Exactly. I'll go through the Flickr and find some stuff.
Yeah, and of course,
Yeah.
and again, like every year we meet a bunch of new people who we are proud to call, hopefully, friends.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I
don't want to be too forward.
I don't think that Dave Himmel remembers who I am. But also,
one day he will.
Yeah, and Drew Tarver definitely does not remember us because he unfollowed all of us.
How rude.
The story there is, so I was walking around, we were walking around, and I see this guy, and I'm like, Drew Tarver! And he like turns, and I'm like, hey, I'm a fan of yours, can I take a picture? And he's like, oh, sure. And then
That's a great Drew.
Yeah, and then we take a picture of them, and he's all like, wow, you guys are dressed so great. You guys are the real...
You're making him
star.
Way more Southern than he actually is.
I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
And he's from like Atlanta, so.
But he's not that Southern.
Straight up ghosts.
Yep.
Please go to styleanddirectionjokesexplained.com. But he followed all of us for like a year, and then he just stopped following us.
Yeah, he got in that Carl's Jr. commercial, and he got too big for his britches. Didn't want to follow us lowly folk.
Maybe it's the bajillion-dollar properties that got him out there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you never know who's gonna be there. I didn't see any celebrities this time because
we got there late on the second day.
I got to see Alessandro Scarzi get into his valet car and leave when we got to Double RL. I was like, hey, there he is. And
there he's not.
Yeah. I took a picture of him, so maybe he goes, hey, you're that guy. Although, with my beard, people don't recognize me.
Weird.
Which is so weird. Yeah, we met Christina, who didn't remember you, right? Because you've met
No.
her before.
I've met her before, but I didn't want to be like, oh, we've met. I didn't want to do that.
But yeah, because so we met this woman who is a swing dancer. She also sells vintage, and she's super nice. And then she kind of did a double take at me. She's like, "Wait, Ethan?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Oh man, your beard makes you look so grown up."
Yeah, it was a very like Ned Ryerson moment. That happens to me every time I see someone who I haven't seen since like November, where they're like, "Oh my God, you have a beard," and I'm like, "Do I?"
I was talking to the Gooch brothers, and our new friends. We met when I was at the Rackety Thread thing. We met two guys who are from Hong Kong and Taipei who have their own stores, who are super cool. They showed up in the dopest vintage Barbour jackets, like from the 50s and 60s. So like these are like, they're not like Beauforts from like last year. Like these are like the legit old ones.
Yeah.
But we were talking about ages, and because they say Asians they don't show signs of aging because we look young a lot. And I told them how a guy from Hong Kong messaged me and said, because I posted about me being the Year of the Pig, 1995, and he's, "Oh, I thought you were in your 30s." And I'm like, I have never gotten that in my entire life.
I have.
Well, that I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
I bet you have.
Uh-huh.
What's that from?
I don't know. It was from nothing.
Oh, that's fucking Han Solo, dude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it goes like, I've been waiting for this for a long time, and then Han goes, "Yeah, I bet you have," and then shoots Greedo. By the way, Han shot first, all right? We're just gonna. That's it.
Do you remember like 2003 or whatever that?
The special edition.
Yeah. Oh boy, a lot of debate.
Yeah. God. Anyway.
That was our obligatory like Star Wars tangent that we have to have in every episode.
Yeah, what are some jokes we do every time? It's been a while.
It's been a while. This time it hasn't.
Stained is one of my favorite bands. Sometimes when that happens, like, instead of saying that it's been a while, I just go, "Hey, you like the band Stained?"
Yeah, but it's been a while.
Yeah. And then you slap your hands, laugh, and shout into his crotch.
Yep.
Please go to styleanddirectionjokesexplained.com. But yeah, I mean, again, if I can implore you guys, check out the blog post, a recapping of it, as well as the old episodes. I think you can also look up the tag if you go streetexpress.wordpress.com/tag/inspiration _or dash LA.
Sounds like you're gonna get him 20% off on a mattress. Like
Lisa mattress.
Yeah,
Build it beautiful.
LisaMattress.com/sadcast.
Yeah. Lisa, if you're listening, we would love to tell you. I would love to tell all of our listeners that they plant a tree, I think, for every mattress sold or something like that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Never go to the post office again.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a great blog post. I put a lot of pictures in there. Again, it has links to the other ones if you want to take a look at those. And then, of course, Spencer will be writing the show notes.
Yeah, we'll have some.
Which will go into this whole thing.
We'll have some bullet points. We'll have our past outfits. And yeah, some of our favorite things that we see at Inspiration every year.
There we go.
Yeah.
You can always, I guess we're wrapping up now, so you can follow me on Instagram at Style and Direction. That's not me. You can follow, you should follow it at Style and Direction. Yeah. All spelled out. That means AND. No, there's no ampersand because I think that
we tried to get the ampersand, but I think it was either taken or we just can't.
I don't think that you can. Like, you can't have an ampersand in an email.
Hey, Mark Zuckerberg, fix that.
Okay.
Yep.
But yeah, you can follow.
Was that Mark?
I don't know. You can follow the podcast there. That's where you'll get all the main stuff about the podcast. Of course, you can follow my personal at Ethan M. Wong.
I'm at Spencer DSO.
And yeah, we love going to this thing. You guys should come. We tried to. I mean, I hope I announced it this time as early as I did, just so we can get some people. And I think I saw some of the followers that I have post stuff like, "Oh, bought this Inspiration." They didn't talk to me. They didn't message me, but they went.
How rude.
So that's cool. How wooed.
Yep.
Episode 1, baby.
Jar Jar.
Jar Jar Banks.
Poetry.
I also hate the joke that Jar Jar is a Sith Lord.
Yeah, come on. What is it? 2015 again?
I know.
Come on, guys.
Jar Jar is Snoke.
Yep.
And Snoke's not a Sith Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that somewhat random reason. We still don't know who Snoke is. Whatever.
Yep. I'm sure we'll find out.
Yeah. Again, if this hasn't bothered you or is boring you or is too weird, you can please leave us a great old review on Apple Podcasts or SoundCloud or wherever else. That would really help us out and give us some motivation to make some more.
Really put a feather in our caps.
Yeah. And plus, I mean, even if people didn't do that, we get a lot of messages from time to time asking us when the next one's going to come out.
Yeah.
And it really...
We have some dedicated listeners. We have a couple of friends that say they listen to it when they fall asleep. So that's...
I think my friend John, and I know John's listening, he says, oh yeah, I put it on because it's like a podcast I know nothing about. Like, and I'm like, that's great, dude.
Yep.
But he did say sometimes it's hard for him to fall asleep because he starts laughing. So
nice.
If there's anything, I think we categorize this on SoundCloud under learning, but maybe it should be comedy. I don't know.
We don't really have this is just like Ethan and Spencer talk for an hour. Like there's no category.
Yeah. Oh, also quick shout out to Garments for No One.
Oh yeah. I can't believe we forgot to mention that.
And this is such a last minute thing. Hopefully people are still listening at this point.
Yeah.
But they are like a made in Los Angeles. I'm not sure if they're made. I'm gonna say they are, and they can correct me later. Slander or whatever.
Libel.
Yeah, it's in print.
One of those two.
Libel. But they're a relatively new company that makes really cool char coats. Among other things, I didn't really get a chance to talk to them too much. Our friends MJ and Andrew, don't get on mic. They bought a couple of short coats. Andrew got the canvas one, and MJ got the corduroy one. I really like the corduroy one.
The corduroy one.
The pictures
dope,
are in the Inspiration LA 2019 blog post, but it's like, it's like navy blue or black with like a couple of red accents. Like there's like a red corduroy pocket, red corduroy collar. Really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And they're priced very reasonably. I think the founder or one of the guys who worked there said, like, he loves Inspiration, but everything's so expensive, and he wants to make it accessible to other people. And really cool. Check them out. I'm sure we'll see them again soon. It's something I'll definitely reach out to them for, like events at the Bloke or whatever, just so that we can get their name out there. Because it's cool to meet other young guys who, who aren't stuffy. Like they're not. We Spencer and I both like the idea of like a $1,200 Buco jacket, but we know that that's not really attainable.
Yeah.
And we're not really about that whole thing. And these guys, I think, share that sentiment.
Exactly. And they were super chill, and I think they gave our friends that got a jacket kind of a deal on it. Like they knocked off like $25-$30.
Yeah, and they also give him some caps, and unfortunately Scott has too big of a head, and he gave his cap to Spencer.
Yeah, so
quick shout out to them. That's our little plug of the day for things that you should take a look at. That actually applies. It's not something random.
Nope.
Yeah. So cool.
We got it.
Good job, us. All right. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.